Fair enough.
And that's why I embrace Dementus so much, is that he thinks this entire setup is kind of ridiculous and brings that to it. And I like that, Immortan Joe is an effective villain in Fury Road, but he is not. I don't know. He's sort of representational. He's just a growling, pustular cutout of a oppressive patriarchy, and he doesn't say much beyond pointing and hollering character names. I mean, he's mediocre is the most savage burn in like cinema history.
He's
but
like a He-Man villain that rapes you.
Yes, a He-Man villain that rapes you. That is actually a really good description of Mad Max bad guys.
Yeah, basically. I mean, well, that's not untrue of Dementus as well, is the thing. That's let's do our Dementus thing now. This performance, wow, he's great, huh? Wow,
Yeah,
well done,
great.
Chris Hemsworth. This is exceptional stuff. Is it the best he's ever been? Is this or is it require a body of work to compare it to be, okay, this is didn't know he had this in him kind of thing. Or I don't know.
I mean, I think
I would love him if I'd never saw him before, I'm sure.
Again, it's going to win me no Letterboxd points to say this, but I think Thor is his best work, actually, even as a lot of those Thor movies are not great, as good movies as this. Mm-hmm. They are sort of just carried by this tremendous, almost kind of miraculous performance that he's giving off in that whole series of now, I don't know, 8 or 9 movies he's played Thor in. I think, when we talked about him in Black Cat, it is definitely interesting. This is a role that he could kind of only play now, or he could not have played then. That we talked about in Black Cat, him like he hadn't quite figured out what his actual role is outside of Thor, and he can't escape the fact that he always is going to look kind of like Thor, and this is a way to work against that, but also not so fundamentally.
Yeah,
it's using aspects of it, but spinning it in a different direction.
Absolutely, and what an amount of energy! What a look! What a vibe! What a command of the screen! I mean, the only quotable character in this film, really. I mean,
nobody else talks.
Nobody else talks, really. Yeah, But man, like everything that drops out of his mouth is gold. It feels improvisational, even though I doubt it is. It is all consistent within this character that is, that's not really, it's not somebody we're supposed to like. And he effectively is not somebody we like. I don't know. He's on sort of a preordained trip from when we meet him, if he's Tulsa Doom. So, we know we're not sympathizing with him at any point, but that kind of frees us up to enjoy him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we know Furiosa is safe in this movie, quote unquote, because she's going to survive, we know he is doomed,
right?
And but there's something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that it frees us up to enjoy him so much as the other weird thing this movie, like prequel status, sort of backs it into is that we are when he is in conflict with Immortan Joe, that is the side Furiosa ends up on is the Joe side, and so. Our guys are kind of on we don't want our side. We don't want to win either. We don't want to root.
Well, we know that side. We know what happens though. We know what happens because of Fury Road. We know. Okay, well, she's working for him in Fury Road, so it's presumably the story of how she comes to work for him and what went down between them. Not much, as it turns out. I would like more there, but that
But Dementus is more likable than Immortan Joe. Like even in between that 40-day war between two bad, armies, like I think Dementus is the one that I like better than the War Boys.
Absolutely. But you can't say it'd be better off if Dementus won because he is a madman. He has no, and when he even takes on like some managerial roles in the middle of the film, he is clearly not capable of it. And bristles at it and fails at it and goes rogue. Which is
something else that's great about both these movies is that they are really they have the perfect villains for the Trump era. And Dementus is definitely that. He's silly and vainglorious, but not really less dangerous for that. And he's also just bad at the job. Better at getting the job of ruling Gastown than he is at performing it. And we mentioned in passing the difficulty with doing villains post Trump, and that it's hard to buy sort of evil masterminds anymore because more and more we've been exposed to evil being really stupid but still dangerous, and nobody is nailing that in movie form better than George Miller in these two movies. That was another miraculous thing about Fury Road is how much if it had come out a year later after Trump had like gotten the nomination even. But
yeah,
it would have seemed like he was
a really on the nose Trump parallel. Yes,
exactly.
I mean,
it's like,
hair,
the War Boys,
the
the War Boys, the Proud Boys, and the way that they just like follow his like dance for, in his shadow, looking for his a little crumb of recognition from this grotesque blob of of oozing flesh. Anyway, It got in there first and sort of just nails it so hard in a way that like it would, if it had come out second in 2024, it would feel like, okay, George, like if you want to make your political movie, maybe you should make that movie. But there's a purity to it now. That's like, no, it's just kind of Breshit. He's got his eye. Even as I'm saying this is unrealistic, I don't think this is how humanity works. Everything. Maybe he knows something I don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's
got
the
his finger on some
Starship Troopers
pulse.
things. It's the Starship Troopers things. Like if you watch that movie now, it feels like it's a satire of the U.S. response to 9/11, but it was made in 1997. It's incredibly on point, and to the point where it would be if they did it now, or and
it would be on the nose instead of on point.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I mean, and the reason for that is Verhoeven understood how fascism works. It's as simple as that. So I think it's George Miller knows what the fuck he's talking about.
He knows how cults of personality work.
Yeah, and that's why this character is so great. By the way, is just that that he just can just kind of one-ups himself constantly throughout the film, even when he's failing. Like the character comes better as the more L's he takes.
Yeah, that's so much fun when you can pull that off with a villain, and that's what it seems like. That's also what makes it such a great, sort of Trump era villain.
Yeah,
is that you can step on so many rakes and still be the villain. That's like, and still be a danger. Is pretty impressive. That's a difficult thing to pull off narratively. Apparently, it's kind of easy to do in the real world. Who knows? But I love like as Dementus gets diminished, the character only gets better.
Mm-hmm. And he's just. The cape, the chariot with the 3 motorcycles, every little thing about this guy, and the performance, even the nose plays to me, even the silly ass fake nose. It just seems it puts him in a tradition, like a theatrical tradition with Captain Hook or something like that. He feels kind of like a literary character. I guess that's maybe too much. I don't know.
No, I absolutely. I mean, I had the exact thought that the nose plays, and. It's part of that great just sort of off-centering. Because if he didn't have the nose and he was just a sort of cult leader that looked like Chris Hemsworth, it would be kind of be doing Bad Times at the El Royale again, which
that's not a good performance, actually. That's
exactly.
That one doesn't work. Mm-hmm. That's before he could do this sort of thing.
I don't know if it's what he needs for his performance or what we need to see for us to accept it, but it makes him immediately more goofy. Even than a Morton Joe, who looks absolutely absurd, but presents himself in a much more serious, growling fashion. But the absurdity of that character and the loquaciousness of the character, having somebody that talks, is a great change of pace from Fury Road. That likes to hear themselves talk.
Yeah,
It gives this movie its own more of its own character, which I do enjoy. And I just love his diss of "I hold them profoundly in contempt."
That's so good. It's so good.
I hope that lives on as a put down.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is at least somewhat quotable. Plus the accent, you get to pretend they do the accent. It's a little sort of Australian Bane kind of thing. It's fun.
It does have some Bane in there.
Mm-hmm. Ready, steady, go. Yeah.
My Smeg will choose. There's a guy named Smegma in this.
Oh yeah, and